paying respect to our teacher. Namo本师释迦牟尼佛。Namo本Sư释迦牟尼佛。Namo本Sư释迦牟尼佛. So it means we seek refuge in the fundamental teacher of Sakyamuni Buddha. And the sutra opening gatha is the Dhamma infinitely profound and subtle. It's rarely encountered even in a million kalpas. Now we are able to hear, to study, and to practice. May we fully understand and realize the Tathagata's true teachings. So, as I always say, we are very fortunate to be able to hear the teachings of the Buddha in this era, because this is an era where a lot of teachers say it's the time of degradation of the Dhamma. It's actually really what I feel is really not the Dhamma degrading, is the people degrading. The people, the practitioners are degrading, and it may, it may be different. You think it may be different in the West because it's just picked up. How can it start going down? It's just picked up, right? It just started 200 years ago, and how could it be going down that fast? I think it's still on the search of climbing up, right? Climbing up, but still we don't know what is going to happen. With the trend of the teaching spreading like a wildfire right now in the West, is anything could happen, You just give it a kick and then it will go sideways, right? So you never know. But in the East, it's definitely changing a lot, especially in China. It was very funny. I would like to share with you this. I got a message 2 days ago about, it's an employment notice. Okay, it's an employment notice. Employing a monk. Okay, so it's for example, it's 16,000 yuan. That means about like $3,000 here a month salary. Okay, and after like half a year of work, like probation period, after 6 months, you get being promoted to like a more senior monk. Then you get about 20,000. Okay, so and then it says probation period is 6 months, and those who are actually fluent in reciting the Diamond Sutra and the Lotus Sutra would have higher priority to be employed. And during the employment, during the day that they need to be in the temple, then they need to abide by the precepts. Then after work, then it's up to them. Yeah, you will laugh at this kind of thing, but it does happen. It doesn't matter which religion, huh? Yeah, but it does happen in all religions. In Christianity, in Catholicism, in Muslim, I think, and not surprisingly in the Buddhist sect also. It's a good thing that they actually publicly publicize so that people are aware that these things are actually happening. So the Buddhists, my friend sent it to me, and actually my student sent it to me, and she said, "Sifu, is this true?" I said, "It could be authentic. It could be an authentic employment notice." And she said, "Oh, how sad." I said, "Yes, it's sad, but also it is a reminder to us to be more diligent and to be really constantly be mindful to come back onto the right path all the time, right? So there are outlaws, you call outlaws out there? Outlaws? I think it's outlaws. Outlaws out there, but we have to be very, very mindful ourselves. Okay. So I was supposed to give this out last week, bookmarks from Pariyati when I order books, the 10 parami. Okay, the 10 parami. Okay, and there are a lot of advertisement at the back too, public ad. Okay, so you are welcome to pick one up. So, good thing that I did not record that one. Now it's time to record, and you put that on hold. Oh, sorry, it's on. It's on hold. How come I put it on hold? Okay. Okay, you didn't want, so you didn't want me to record that one. It's very smart. Okay, so now we come to chapter 16 of the Sutra and 42 chapters. So chapter 16 is that the whole thing is talking about renounce desire to attain the way. In order to attain the path, we need to renounce our desires. That's what the whole chapter is talking about. And the Buddha said, those who harbor desire and lust cannot see the way. When our hands disturb the clear water, none who gather around it can see their reflections. Sorry, there is extra third there. None who gather around it can see their reflections. Similarly, when people are aroused by desires, their minds are so muddled that they cannot see the way. You Shramanas should renounce desire. When desire and lust are purged, the way will manifest itself. So we can see from this chapter, it's actually very easy to understand. When lust and desires are renounced, then we will not be craving anymore, right? So simple to understand, but it is so simple to do, though. The doing part is the most difficult part. And the clear water in this passage means our pure mind, the peaceful mind, and the balanced mind, the undisturbed mind. That means that is the metaphor. The clear water means our pure mind, our Buddha mind, our peace of mind, and the balanced mind. So when we actually stir up the water with our hand, so that means the hands, what do you think is the hand representing? Action. What kind of actions? Grasping. Yeah, good. And what else? What does he talk about here? Desires, somebody said? Desires, yeah. Grasping and desires. So all the desires in the outside world and inside our mind are just like our hands stirring up the pond, right? My famous Sister Jessie's water bottle is, when I go to teach at school, I always have this secret weapon, hiding behind a towel. And the kids now, they know that's the Sister Jessie water bottle. And they are waiting to see what is in it this time. Because almost every different time she put different things in. And one kid actually recognized last week. He said, "Oh, you've got a new bottle. Last time it was a peanut butter bottle, right?" I said, "Yeah, the peanut butter bottle leaks." "Yes, it leaked. It dripped." He remembered. Yeah, it was so. I said, "That's very good. That's mindful seeing." So our hands disturb the clear water. So our hands means our desire in our mind, the lust, the desire, even to attain enlightenment, is also a desire. Okay, and a desire of outside things, it is also a desire. So a desire in your mind, or desire in your mind for things in the outside world, is also desire and lust. Okay, so All these desires is just like us, keep shaking up that bottle, keep stirring up the pond. How can you see whether there are fish in the pond? You can't. So how are you going to attain that peace and quietude of the mind if you keep stirring it up with this lust and desires? Yeah. So that's what it means in this paragraph. So because when we start to stir it up, even though we try to stay close, we can we still cannot see the reflections. No matter how hard we try, we cannot see the reflections because we're stirring it up. It's wavy, it's stormy. Yeah. So so the reflections in here is a metaphor of the all the phenomena, how they exist in the world. If we are constantly engaged in our desires and lust, and we keep stirring up the balance of the mind, and we keep losing that awareness, that purity, that calmness, the focus of the mind, we cannot see the real truth of existence around us, in ourselves, in us, in the outside world, inanimate things around us, our relationships, our situations, our feelings. We cannot see it. We cannot see the truth of it. So that's the whole thing about this. So it's a that's why it's very important that we try to tame this and tame and train this mind, so that when things happen, when situations become haywire, or when our relationships with people, our interactions with people change, then we actually can see it ourselves and see if we can actually maintain it and constrain ourselves not to stir it up more, or restrain ourselves, not constrain, restrain ourselves. So because of all these lust and desire, the water becomes so muddled. And he said, when people are aroused by desires, their mind is so muddled that they cannot see the way. Let alone the way, we cannot even tell how we feel when we are so muddled, right? Sometimes people come to me feeling very stressed. I said, "How are you feeling?" He said, "I don't know. I don't know." But literally, they are crying, or they're anguished, they're angry, and they say, "I don't know." I said, "Okay, come on, sit down. Okay, be aware and how you feel now. Just give me something. Just tell me how you feel right now. Just one feeling. Oh, I'm angry. Okay. Another one. I'm sad. Another one. Oh, then once they start to sit down, they can have a whole chain of emotions coming because they are so muddled. They cannot see, not even the path, but even themselves, they cannot see, let alone the path being so difficult and so subtle, right? So, I mean, if the outside situations is not working according to our wishes, we lost control. We become so angry, anxious, depressed, and we don't know what to do. And I always tell the students, just sit down, just be quiet, just let it settle down first. Let that muddled water settle down before you can actually see what am I going to do with this clear water, or what am I going to do with this muddled water? Am I going to scoop it out, or am I going to just throw the clear water out, then, and whatever left is the muddled thing? So can you come back to the senses so soon? Depends on how fast you realize that you are in that situation. A lot of times we act out with so much impulse. We hear something, we just want to tell somebody. We see something, we just want to comment. We act so much out of impulse that nothing actually been dealt with or been settled or been filtered. And a lot of time at that time when we act with such an impulse, the words come out, or the thoughts come out, or the actions that actually we perform could be completely destructive. You agree? Very much. You want to help. Sometimes you want to help, but a lot of times you're actually going the other way, going the other direction. So, settling down, the most difficult situation, the most you need to settle down before you start to deal with it. Remember this, please. Always. Always. The most difficult, the most challenging, or whatever, the most disturbed this situation, please don't jump onto it to actually to deal with it. Allow yourself to settle and filter. And like going down the slope, the more you pump on the brake, the more the car won't stop, because you keep pumping it. What? It starts to fly. Wouldn't it, right? No? It does. I remember. I keep pumping. And actually, because you don't put it on full brake. If you put it on full brake, I think it's better. But if you keep pumping it little by little, it starts to blah, 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 blah. It doesn't really stop. Right? That's my driving experience. So if you want to put a brake on, put it onto really deep brake, full brake, then you stop. Then you can, give yourself a few seconds, just take a deep breath, and then go on. When we are so muddled, just like when we are on the highway, it's so foggy, we could hardly see 10 feet, 20 feet in front of us. What can we do? We put up all the lights. We even put the blinker on, emergency light on, so that the person at the back see us. But sometimes you can hardly see. What do? If you want to keep driving, keep driving. If you don't want to keep driving, take a detour. Go to Tim Horton for a cup of coffee before, wait for the fog to lift before heading home. Find a way rather than keep muddling up. Yeah. So the Buddha said we should renounce desire. When we do so, we will be able to see the way naturally, without any expectation or wanting. I got a question from a student today from Los Angeles. She said, the wandering mind and the focused mind, is it in the same mind? How could a wandering mind produce so much wandering thoughts and so crazy? If it's the same mind, then how could a focused mind would produce such wonderful, sweet results? How could it be possible? I said, why not? It's just like our hand. Can you divide your hand into two? No, you can't. This is the hand. The palm is the hand. The top of the hand is the hand. It's the hand. So if you look at it from here, you see the palm. You look at it from here, you see the hand. So it's the same mind that you're actually dealing with. It can be either wandering or it can be either focus. It cannot be half and half. Sorry. Okay. At any moment. Not forever. At any moment. It can only do one thing. It can either be wandering mind, reactive mind, or it can be a focused and concentrated mind and be aware mind. It's the same mind. And of course, if it's wandering, then where does it take you? And if it is focused, where does it take you? You know that. So when you are wandering and you keep saying, I don't want to wander, I don't want to wander, actually you wander more by saying so. You wonder more and more by saying so. So you just watch it. Okay, I'm wondering, okay, what is that wandering thought? What is it doing to me? You can actually start to investigate that thought. You can start to investigate that mind at that moment. But sometimes before you know it, that thought is already gone and the next thought will come in. Right? And then you start to investigate a thought. No, that thought is gone. Another thought comes in. That actually in one moment, actually hundreds of thoughts could have come in, but it's just that the mind is not subtle enough to catch all the thoughts, and you only think that you have one thought in one moment. But so many thoughts are actually happening. But the most obvious thought you can catch. But so many thoughts could be happening, just like coming and going, coming and going, coming and going, very fast. So that thought you observe, you can start to actually not dwell into it, but just say, oh, what is it doing? Or what's the nature of its existence? And then you're actually not dwelling into the thought. You are not following the wandering thought. You are not wandering in the wandering thought. But you're actually building up that mindfulness with that wandering thought. So at that time, then your mind becomes a little bit more focused, more mindful. And mindfulness doesn't come because I want mindfulness. Can I be more mindful? I want mindfulness. The more you want mindfulness, the more you wander off. Okay, so it's the two sides to a coin. Okay, so if you build up this awareness, naturally the wandering part will start to slow down, will start to become diminished. So naturally, the path will actually show right in front of you. You'll see the path very clearly. You don't need to say, oh, where's the path? Where's the path? Sorry, you cannot see the path. When the path that you can see is actually not the path. It's not the path. Because how can you see such a path? Because you never know what will unfold in the future. Right? So like going up in the mountain. Yeah, we always follow the trail. But if there is no trail, can you still go up the mountain? Sure. Of course you can. I watched a movie on the plane. What was it called? I told you to watch it. It's called Eight something Eight. And it's so close to the Eightfold Noble Path. It's so close. I have to find it. I think it's the eight in how can I? No, something like I can't remember the name of the movie. It was so great. And they were challenging the what do you call infinity or whatever. Okay, so there are skiers coming down the mountains. I think it was Himalayas or whatever, and they couldn't find. They call there is something that they call with a skier. They said, I can see, for example, I can see the path. And then there was one skier, and he just stayed composed, and he looked down the mountain, just very focused. He said, I find the path. I see the path. And he just jumped, and he just skied down. And the other person was so hesitant to follow. The three guys. So the last guy said, I don't want to kill myself because I cannot see a path. And the first guy just jumped and went. And then the next one followed him. And then the second one said, come, because we are a team. And he said, I can't see the path. He said, just follow. And he followed, but he died. He died. But the other two actually reached the bottom of the hill. They found a path. So if there is a path for you to see, and that is actually not a path, because things are constantly changing. How can you expect the path to be like that all the time? right? It can be. All right. So the way, it says here, the way will manifest itself when desire and lust are eradicated, gone. You will naturally see. There is I read a book lately, and there is a very good analogy about the lust and the path. He actually exemplify in a way like the clothes. Okay, this, for example, this rope. I said, oh, this is dirty. The rope is never dirty. The dirt is there, but the rope is not never dirty. Ah, so we always try to rub off the dirt from the rope to make the rope clean. The rope is always clean, but it's the dirt actually stick onto it. You see, the lust and the desires always stick to our mind. The mind is always pure. So, but we always think that we should clean the clothes. Why are you laughing?
I like this example.
You always try to clean the clothes. Oh, rub, everything, all the detergent, just keep on rubbing and rubbing. And you forgot. The rope is never dirty. It's the dust, it's the oil sitting on top of it. Make you think that the rope is dirty. It's actually two separate things. You see that? It's actually I think it's a wonderful analogy. It's a wonderful teaching, that one. Yeah. Contemplate more on that, okay? Huh?
So throwing out my wash.
You can in the mundane world, no. Okay? So that's chapter 16. So, as I said, from chapter 13, 14 onward, all the chapters are actually very short, but they are very deep. They're very deep. So, chapter 17 is said, light dispels darkness. The Buddha said, seeing the way is like entering a dark room holding a torch. Darkness dissipates and light alone remains. When you follow the way and see the truth, ignorance vanishes and enlightenment always remains. So it's just like the rope and the oil here, isn't it? Yeah. So ignorance here, there's actually a very difficult word to actually exemplify the deep meaning of what the Buddha actually meant here. Ignorance cannot represent what he actually taught, but it's the best word, close to what you can get, the closest that you can get. So ignorant here means like mental disturbances arising from craving, from aversion, from delusion, illusion, doubt, and everything. Or simpler term, you want to call it afflictions or fetters. Okay, so afflictions. So in the Mahayana tradition, there is a teaching of there are three categories of afflictions. Okay, so three categories. The first category, we call it of afflictions arise from views and thoughts. This is the most gross one. It's not subtle, very gross. And then the more we go up, the subtle it gets. Okay. So the first one we call the views and the thoughts that actually cause a lot of afflictions. And there are 5 different kinds in this, 5 different views or thoughts, or 5 different categories of views and thoughts that would cause such afflictions. I want to put the Chinese down so that if there are Chinese online, they will see what it means. Okay. So in here, it is a view, is a conceptual thing. It's really, what it means is you really don't properly understand the teachings, or in your mind you crooked the teachings. Okay, so it's a wrong view. And so how many different kinds of 5 different kinds of wrong views in here? The first one, it relates to the body. And we think this body is permanent. We think this body is authentically existing, true, this existence. And you will say, yes, it is existing. Yeah, it is true. It is true. I feel pain. Yeah, it is true. But it's conditioning, right? It's conditioned existing. It exists because of other conditions, right? It exists because I have flesh. It exists because I have skin to cover all the flesh. Otherwise, I'll be like a mess, right? So those are all conditions that make this physical existence the way it is. But we don't actually, a lot of time, we don't see the truth behind this existence. We see it so vividly, so truly existing. This is so true. That's why when we get sick, or when we get really sick, or when we are dying, we feel so upset, because this body, I don't have any control with this body anymore. Yeah. And I get upset because this body is growing old. I get upset because I cannot walk the way I want to walk. Yeah. Because why? Because we have this wrong view of this body being permanently existing, and this body is being controllable by us, and this body exists, this body exists not depending on other conditions. Okay. So this is relating to the existence of this body, the attachment to this existence. Okay, and then the second category under this is we attach. On the other hand, this on the firstly, we attach to existence. There is something here. The second wrong view is we attach to something, emptiness, being empty, being void, being conditioned. So we don't have to look after this body. Oh, who cares? It's empty. Who cares? I don't have to behave. Who cares? I don't have to abide by the rules. Who cares? This is empty. I can rob. I can kill. I can abuse because it's empty. So people attach to the view of emptiness, the view of voidness, void. Okay. And then the third one is they attach to a certain view and take it as a very important and crucial thinking. And this is the right, correct thinking. Can you give me an example?
Believing in God and putting him in a box. It's a view that gets you stuck in one spot.
Mm-hmm.
There's a creator, right? An outside creator.
Yeah. That could be right. And also, I think if we take the election down south, to look at the election, to attach to a certain view and take it as a very important concept, and it's the right thing, or it's a very important concept, it's very crucial and it's true and everything. About the emails, nobody has said anything about the emails. And just a couple of days, and then the FBI director just said, oh, they're going to further investigate into the email. Nobody said anything about the email, the content of the email, nothing. Everybody is speculating, and everybody think that the email is going to get this person down. at this time, I think the party think that the email is going to be detrimental to them winning the presidency. And then the other party think, oh, great, this email is going to come out. It's so great. It's going to kill her. This view of this email right now, right here, they think is so vividly true. They attach to this thought, to this concept. And yes, once her emails are out, then she'll be out. Right? And it's because we are so stubbornly attached to our own view. And this is true, this is right, and this is proper, and we should do it this way. Come on, things always change. Right? Okay. And then the fourth one is people are attached so strictly, so strongly to some rules or quote morality. Rules. I think better to use rules. Or of other cults. They believe that will lead them to liberation. In the olden days in India, people abide by the rule of a cattle eating grass. They think that they should behave like a cattle to eat grass. They think that rule actually is applicable to them, so that they will attain certain state of enlightenment or liberation. So they attach to certain rule and thinking that rule is going to lead them to liberation or enlightenment. That certainly won't be. Or like the Buddha, actually he went into the forest for 6 years, right? Pursuing the aesthetic life, eating a grain a day and wearing very little. And all the ascetics think that abiding by that rule, they're going to get enlightenment. They're going to reach enlightenment. No, they can't, right? The Buddha let go of that ascetic life and went to take an offering from the girl of the porridge. And then he actually attained enlightenment by sitting, by meditating and contemplating on his own existence. Okay? And the fifth wrong view is all the improper views, all the incorrect views, deviating from the correct views of what the Buddha has taught. The Buddha has taught about what? He has taught about impermanence. Anything that deviating from the concept of impermanence is incorrect. The Buddha's taught about conditioned arising, and anything that deviating from that conditioned arising is improper, is incorrect view. And the Buddha said Nibbana is possible. And any philosophies, any views, any thoughts that actually tells you that Nibbana is impossible, that's his wrong view. That is improper view. Okay? So those are 5. And these are the most gross afflictions. And we all have that. We all have that to a certain extent. Okay, and then the second one is the hidden mental one. Is in the Chinese saying is called like dust, like sand in the Ganges. Okay, those afflictions are like dust, like sand in the Ganges. And it's really hidden in the mental faculty. In the Theravadan tradition, it only talks about the 6th faculty, but in the Mahayana tradition and in the Abhidhamma, it talks about the 8th, the 7th, and the 8th faculty. The 7th faculty is like the worker bee bringing the honey into bringing the pollen into the hive. Okay, so the 7th one is us all this consciousness, bringing all these messages and bring it in. The seventh faculty has that function, bringing from the outside world to the inside, hide it in the mind. And the mind, the chip in the mind is the eighth faculty. That's where everything is being stored. That's what reincarnates. It's the eighth faculty. Okay. So if you just use consciousness, it's actually very difficult to understand. But if you give two more faculties to that span of the mind, it's a lot easier to understand. Okay, so these hidden mental afflictions are all in this eighth faculty, the storage of that mind, the computer chip. Okay, and we don't even know what is in there. You think you can actually encrypt it? Like, like what do they do with this thing? Encrypt it? Like they try to open it or whatever? You can. Because of all this dusty and sandy affliction, therefore it supports the views and the thoughts that we have, and it multiplies those afflictions. Okay, so an easier thing to understand about this hidden mental afflictions is when this room is all turned off, the lights is all turned off, okay, or you just have one light and you see the room is very clean. But if there is a ray of sun shining through here, or you can see just ray, if the light is sort of like a ray, and you see in that ray, you see all those dust in the ray flying. But if there is no sun ray, you can't see it. Only when you have the ray of sun shining through, then you see all the dust and all the spider webs. Yeah, so that's what that's what it means by the sand and the dusty affliction, sandy and dusty affliction. So subtle and so finite, so fine, not finite, so fine. Okay. So these afflictions are all the wandering thoughts, millions, thousands of them, like dust and sand, keep coming up, coming, going, coming. If we are ignorant, we don't even see it. Only if we are more mindful and the mind becomes sharp, then you'll be able to catch it. So the first, if we could abolish the first category of afflictions, we'll reach an arahat, the level of arahat. If we could abolish this first and the second, we'll reach the level of a bodhisattva. It's really not easy, hey? And in order to actually abolish all these subtle, fine afflictions, one needs to actually practicing very, very diligently. Okay, and then the third is that ignorance is actually, if you want to call ignorance, then is ignorance, afflictions arising from ignorance. This is actually the most subtle. And some people say that we have, or some teachers say that we have ignorance, at the same time we have the Buddha mind. It's true. It's just like two sides to a coin. The Buddha mind is here, the ignorance is here. The ignorance is here, the Buddha mind is here. Okay? So if we abolish the ignorance, then the Buddha nature will surface. When we do not understand, when we do not see, when we cannot see, then there will be ignorance. Like a curtain just right in front of us. We cannot see anything. Like we close this blind. We don't even know what's happening outside. So ignorance is just like a blind, right in front of us, in front of our eyes, in front of our ears, everything, just in front of us, and we cannot reach to the other side and knowing what's underneath our Buddha nature mind. Okay, so it is actually ignorance that help us to build up this hidden mental afflictions, right? It's actually a step-by-step thing. So it's ignorance causing, you can see from the other way back, it's ignorance because we are ignorant, so we have all these hidden mental afflictions, and because of all these mental afflictions, hidden mental afflictions, we have the wrong views and the wrong thoughts. And if we remove the wrong views and the wrong thoughts, and hopefully we will review that we have so much dusty and sandy afflictions. And if we could abolish all these dusty and sandy afflictions, and we reach another level that we could actually dive into ourselves and see whether we are ignorant or not. So you can actually see it from both ways. Okay. So what do you think will actually help us to actually build up this ignorance? Our stupidity, our delusion, our illusion. And most of all is the attachment. We are so attached to things that we could become so blind. One of my friends in Hong Kong, and he was very upset with his own behavior. No matter how much I tell him, this is not a sin. This is just your reaction. It's not a sin. If it is a sin, then you have to ask for forgiveness. Then you need to other to forgive you. Who is going to forgive you, right? Nobody can forgive you. Okay, I said, this is not a sin, because if it's a sin, then you need to be punished. You're already being punished right there. I said, this is your karma. Whatever that happens in the past, that just brings you to whatever that you are right now. And your reaction right now is actually very, very important, because your reaction will drive you to whatever that will be the consequence in the future. So if you start to react to your so-called sin right now, then you will keep on building up negativities towards that behavior. How are you going to come out? How? Tell me how. He cannot give me an answer. But he said, I can't let go of that sinful feeling. What can I do? He's so attached to that sinful feeling. He's so attached to that guilt. He's so attached to that mistake that he has made. Despite my advice, maybe my advice wasn't strong enough. So he was still like in deep water now. So this attachment to our own mind, to that ignorance, is so ignorant. It could actually push us to really into the black hole. Okay. And the attachment to the craving, and the attachment to the anger, the attachment to lust, attachment to desires, all these actually drive us further and further away from the path. So that's why in the Chinese Zen practice, the teachers are very, very important to actually wake the student up at the right time, so that they become awakened. They realize, they come into realization. because they believe in the Chinese Chan practice, it's always said, if you have a little awakening, it allows you to see through, like see through the hole of the curtain, and you see that light, and you have the taste. After that taste, you need to nourish that. You need to keep nourishing that part of the mind. But it's so easy to lose that. We all experience that in our meditation, right? We have that calmness, that peacefulness, and that sharpness of the mind. We actually know what's going on through this whole body. But once it's anicca vada sankara, everything's gone. And when you walk out and you see the grass, you see the mountain, you see the snow, lost. You forgot. We forgot. We constantly forget to nourish that little realization that we have. Don't underestimate the power of those little realization and little experience. Because in order to see the big experience, to experience big, you need to actually accumulate so many of those little ones. Unless we are a person of great good karma, and we could just sit and then awakened. It's like some of the teachers, right? But we are all unenlightened beings. We are all mundane people. So for those people, for those who have actually abolished all these afflictions out of ignorance, is already Buddha. They already attained Buddhahood. Okay, so we all have hope. We just have to do it step by step, little by little. Okay, so right in here it says, seeing the way is like entering a dark room holding a torch. Darkness dissipates and light alone remains. So if we start to abolish all our afflictions, we start to see the light in the room. The smaller light give you, like, you see a smaller space. Bigger light allow you to see bigger area, bigger space. So, and that's what he said is, when you follow the way and see the truth, ignorance vanishes and an enlightenment always remains. Of course, it's not that simple, right? It's not so easy and it's not so straightforward, but it's possible. Okay? So I will not start with chapter 18, although I have prepared chapter 18, because 5 minutes is not enough. So upcoming events, that we have a 1-day mindfulness course this Sunday. Is, however, it is in Cantonese. Okay, but if you think that you don't mind the Cantonese, you are welcome. You're welcome to come. And I would like to do my Dhamma sharing next Monday, because I'm no, you can. Laura, you can. Oh, curling. Okay, unless you want to call it off. Um, Monday I can have Dhamma sharing on Monday, because I'm going to teach the 10-day course on the 9th, and I normally go up 1 day earlier. So anybody who wants a Monday night Dhamma sharing? Okay, so okay, all right. Then we'll do it on Monday night, okay? Monday evening, same time, same place. Then I think next week, okay, next week we'll do chapter 18. Okay, so you have any questions concerning tonight, the 2 chapters?
I think I was seeing a connection between the later part that you're talking about, the ignorance, and the analogy that you gave of washing the clothes and not the dirt. Because if I was maybe a year or 2 ago, I asked myself, like, just to be really honest about, do I really want to know? Do I really not want to be ignorant? And the honest answer was no, not really. I could feel it in myself, this kind of this hesitancy, like, no,
I don't want to know. Yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah. A lot of times we are really, I don't want to know. I don't want to know the truth. Please don't tell me the truth.
You can feel uncomfortable with the thought that you don't really exist.
Yeah.
Think.
Yeah.
That's upsetting to change our whole view that we're used to thinking of.
Yeah, yeah, and because the matter of identity is so strong in the West. I mean, in humankind, humankind, we always identify ourselves with so much thing, right? Right, with the glasses, like oh, trendy glasses, and nice car, nice clothes, handsome husband, beautiful wife, lovely house, good good profession, all those things. We always identify ourselves, and being a conditioned arising person, where is the identity? What is the identity? Where is it? People will start to be, that's why people, if people don't accept this conditioned arising, a lot of time people don't like to approach the Buddha's teachings, is because they are so scared of this concept, the conditioned arising. And they don't want to know that they are actually dependent on so many things for their own existence. You agree? But come on, it's so obvious, isn't it? We are so dependent on others for our own existence. We depend on this, on the rain. We depend on the road. We depend on our feet. We depend on our shoes not to get wet feet and get cold feet. Who make our shoes? Exactly, definitely, right? So we are so dependent on so many other things, and losing that that grip is very scary, isn't it? That's why so many people rather choose Christianity or Catholicism or other religion, because they to them it's more grounded, easily get themselves grounded, because I'm here. I have an identity. I'm the son. I'm the grandkid of the God, right? But here, you're nobody. How can I be nobody, right? No, it's too depressing. It's too depressing. Yeah. But you have to come to terms with it. You have to start realizing that. You have to become less ignorant. Okay, not completely abolish that ignorance is impossible. I think right now, at least this lifetime, is impossible. But at least we try. Just be honest. And when that uneasy feeling come up, oh, yeah, okay, I'm aware that I have that uneasy feeling because I'm not being honest. Yeah, it's not easy.
That's why I like that analogy.
Yeah, 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 yeah. We just keep looking at it's a dirty cloth. No. All right. Okay. So great. We bring our awareness back to this body. Experiencing this body in this flux of changes. We allow this good thought to arise in our mind. For all the benefits that I gather tonight, hearing the words of the Buddha, may I share with all beings. May all beings be free of enmity. May all beings be free of miseries. May all beings start to live in a world with warmth, brightness, experience love and peace. May more and more people will encounter the teachings of the Buddha, practice the path, liberate themselves from their own sufferings and be happy and be peaceful. Okay, good night. See you Monday. Thank you.